Hello everyone, this is Amar Kumar Ram. Welcome back to my channel. This is a continuation video in the Microfrontend authentication series. Today we are going to work on Book App application, which is nothing but our host application. But before starting that, let's go over the browser and see that our three applications, that is Book App, Booklist and Reports, all are working fine as shown in the previous video. So this is our Book App application. This is our booklist application and this is our reports application. For booklist and reports, we have already created the remote entry.js file, which we will consume in the book app application in this video. So let's go into the VS Code. Here we will go to the terminal of book app application and we'll stop the server. Now we will create the home component. For that we'll run the command ng g for generate c for component and then the component name, that is home. After the command successfully runs, we can see that a home folder has been generated inside the app folder of the book app application. Similarly, we will generate one more component with name page not found. Now we can see that home and page not found, both components have been created inside app folder of book app application. After this, we will go to the app component.html file and we will replace this entire HTML with this, where we have a nav tag. Inside that we have few links, say home, book list, reports and login, and then the router outlet tag, which will render UI based on the routes. Now let's save the file and check over the browser. For that we will restart the server. As the server started, let's see over the browser. This is how our HTML looks like. Now we will work on the CSS part. I already have the CSS, so let me just paste that inside app component.scss file. So we'll open app component.scss file and we'll paste it. Let's check it once what is written here. So we have taken navbar class, which we have defined in the HTML file itself, to the nav tag. We have provided a width, background color and the flex display. Also we have written some CSS on the nav link, which is inside navbar. So we can see that nav link is the class of all anchor tags inside the nav tag. For that we have written padding, border radius, font size, cursor, color, text decoration and a hover effect. Now we'll save the file and open style.scss file. Here we will write a global CSS for all components, that is margin 0, padding 0 and box sizing border box. I have saved all the files. Now let's check over the browser. This is how our navbar looks like now. Now our next task is to load remote applications, that is booklist and reports application, on the route of booklist and reports navbar link. For that we will go to the app routing.module.ts file. So let's open app routing.module.ts file. And in the routes array, we will first define an empty path and we'll load the component home component with path match property as full. Similarly, we will create two other routes. One is with path booklist and the last one is with path reports. For the booklist path, we will load the children, which will be an anonymous function, and it will load the remote module. We will use the load remote module from the angular-architect/module federation library. This method expects an object where we have the keys like remote name. Now we will close all other files and open webpack config of booklist application. Here the name that is given is booklist, so we'll provide the same. The second key is remote entry, which will be the link of remote entry.js file. For that we'll go over the browser, and for booklist application we will open this remote entry.js link and paste the same inside the remote entry key, that is here. After this, the last key that we need to provide is exposed module, and that exposed module will get it from the webpack config, that is our key, dot forward slash and then the booklist data module. So we'll write dot forward slash booklist data module. This method returns a promise, so we'll write a then block and it has a parameter which is the module itself and then module dot booklist date module. In case of any error, we can have a catch block where if there is any error, we'll log into the console. Now same thing we will do with the reports path. So we'll just copy this and paste it here. And now I'll close this webpack config for booklist application and open for reports application. Here I'll copy the name. I'll replace it here. The remote entry would be 4400 in this case. And the module that is exposed is reports data mod. So I'll copy and paste it here. Also at line number 29. That's it. Now we'll save it and let's see over the browser whether everything works fine or not. So this is our host application. Since we are at empty path, so homeworks is displaying. If I go to book list, then nothing is happening. So let's see over the console. Here in the console, we are getting an error that is cannot read properties of undefined reading emod or cannot read properties of undefined reading init, unexpected token export. So if you are encountering with these errors, let me show you how to resolve it. For that, we will go to the webpack config of the host application first. So let's open the webpack config of book app. Here we will add the key script type text forward slash JavaScript. Also, since we are not loading the remote application as a module, so we'll remove this extra key that is library type module from the module federation plugin and we'll save the file. As we have changed the webpack config file of book app application, we'll restart the server for it. Now our server has been started for the book app application. Let's remove that type module from the webpack config of the remotes application also. For that, we need to go to the webpack config of booklist application and here we will delete this library type module and then save the file. As we have changed the config file of the remote application, let's restart the server for it. The server has been started. So let's check over the browser. Before clicking on booklist link, I'll first clear this console and now I'll click on this booklist link. We can see that we have successfully routed to booklist route and there is no console error. So if you encounter those type of errors like undefined emod or undefined init like that, undefined export, it means you are exposing the remote application incorrectly. Now we have successfully routed to booklist application, but we are not able to see any content. This is because when we are clicking on booklist route, it is actually loading the booklist module from the remote application. Let me show how. For that, I'll open the app-routing.module.ts file of the book app application. And as soon as we are going to the booklist route, we are trying to load this booklist data module. Now, what is this booklist data module? It is the module in the remote application. So let's go to the booklist data module. Now, when it loads the booklist data module, there is no definition like what to do next, like what components needs to be loaded. For that, let's write few lines of code here. So we'll write comma inside the imports array and use router module. After that, we will use for child. It means whenever this module will be loaded at the host application, then this for child will be called, which expects an array of objects. So we'll say path as an empty, means at whatever path we are loading this booklist data module. In our case, it is forward slash booklist. After that, it will load the component that is booklist data component and the path match would be full. Now we'll save it and check over the browser. Now I'll clear the console and click on the book list. So it is showing me booklist-data works, which is coming from the remote application. How we can confirm? We can go to the network tab and see that a remote entry.js has been loaded from the 4300 port. So if I go to home and reload the page, so there is no remote entry called, but as soon as I click on book list, a remote entry.js gets called from 4300 port and it shows the content booklist-data works. Now if I go to console and click on reports, it will throw the same error which we were getting on booklist link. That is cannot read property of undefined reading emod, cannot read property of undefined reading init and unexpected token export. So these errors I have already explained how to resolve and why it is happening. It is happening because at the host side we are not expecting library of type module. Let me show you. So if I go to webpack config of book app, we are not expecting any type of the library as module, whereas if I open webpack config of report, here we are exposing the library type of module. So we'll delete this. Also we'll do the same changes here, that is we'll open this reports data module and inside the imports array we will use router module dot for child, which will expect an array of objects, path as empty, component will be reports data component and path match as full. As we have changed the configuration file of reports application, we'll restart the server for it. Now the server has been started, so let's open the browser. Here I'll clear the console and go to the network tab. First of all, I'll click on booklist application. So it is loading the remote entry from the 4300 port. Now if I click on the reports application, I can see reports-data works, which is coming from the the second remote entry, which is at 4400 port. And if I see the console, there is no error. It means we are able to load two remote application in a single host file based on different routes. Now in the next video, we will set up the Express server and proceed further with our this series. If you have any query, then do let me know in the comment section. I'll try to respond as soon as possible. So let's meet in the next video. Till that, be happy, take care, signing off.